Well, welcome back. A Fox News alert for you. Some new reports showing that the New York City terror suspect has been on the radar since at least 2015. So how was he able to carry out the deadliest terror attack that the city has seen since 9/11? Now, former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz is here to weigh in on the red flags that could have been missed. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good to be here. Good morning.
You know, we mentioned the possibility of this yesterday, unconfirmed, that he was on the radar here, and now we know that to be true. Let's take a look specifically at, some of the background first of Sayfullo Saipov. He's not a U.S. citizen. He was born in Uzbekistan, as we said yesterday. He came to the U.S. through this diversity visa program. He passed an Uber driver background check, and he drove with them for 6 months. What did we miss here, Fred?
Well, let's start off with noting that we're hearing the same thing we hear every time there's a terrorist attack in the U.S. The guy's a lone wolf, there's no foreign ties, and we have New York officials saying he was recently radicalized. You know, New York officials can't know that. He was interviewed as part of a counterterrorism investigation 2 years ago. His mosque was under surveillance by the New York City Police Department. I think those are red flags, and it raises for me the question, was this an intelligence failure? But there's a bigger question here. Did political correctness prevent U.S. officials from connecting these dots? And is this the reason this guy slipped through the cracks?
And that's a valid question, especially when we take a look at some of the facts that you just mentioned, specifically the mosque themselves that were then taken off this investigation. Let's take a look at that. In 2006, as we just mentioned, Fred said Saipov's mosque believed to be the subject of this federal investigation. And then in 2010, Sayfullo Saipov enters the U.S. And then in 2014, New York City drops the unit that surveils mosque. And then in 2015, he was identified as a point of contact for the 2 men in a terror database. And then at that time, he was interviewed as well. And then in 2017, Saipov carried out, of course, the deadliest New York City attack since 9/11. So do you think part of the issue were the surveillance of these mosques that was lifted?
I think there's a real possibility of that. This mosque was being surveilled by the New York City police, even though it was in Paterson, New Jersey. There was a special arrangement with a prior New Jersey governor to permit that. But Bill de Blasio shut down this surveillance program because he thought that it wasn't sensitive to Muslims in the region. And look, I understand that concern, but if a mosque or a church is believed to be a headquarters or a place where terrorists are meeting, I think the U.S. government has to be surveilling it. De Blasio shut this program down. We know this is the mosque that this guy was worshiping at, and there was some terrorist link. This is something I think we need to look into.
Oh, and I'm absolutely sure that people will as a result of this. Fred Fleitz joining us live this morning with some insight. Fred, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.